So this is obviously not a standard use case scenario. I'm using a clone SM57 microphone with the Joyo MW-1 kit, and I'm going straight into camera just as a proof of concept to show that you can do it. There's plenty of gain available and headroom, and so it works. But don't judge the sound quality because it's a very cheap microphone. I think I paid $10 for this one. So to test the audio quality of the Joyo MW-1, I'm going to put it up against a wired solution with a cable. And I'll be using these two studio condenser microphones. There's T-Bone SC1100. They're not a matched pair, but they sound extremely similar. I'm actually switching between them now, one and the other, so that you can hear how similar or different they sound. And I don't think they will have an actual impact on the test result. However, I had a side test result which I wasn't expecting, which was quite interesting, but more to that later. So here we are with two studio condenser mics, a large diaphragm. I don't think you would be using a wireless kit like this, but their sound quality is the most transparent, so it's a good test, I think. So this is the wired one, this is the wireless one. I'm using a 48 volt power supply in the middle to power the microphone because the wireless system doesn't provide 48 volts. So it wouldn't work without that. Actually, I should show you. So yeah, it looks like that. So I have a short cable, you can see. I'm not cheating. I have a short cable. The wireless goes into this box, which is just a 48 volts power supply, which is battery powered, charged by USB. You can find that on AliExpress. Pretty nifty to connect any microphone to your camera, for instance. Although now I'm going into an audio interface, and it's a Presonus IoStation 24C, which has a very nice feature, which are the preamps, which are very good. I don't remember the name, but they are very good. They sound really good. So they should not color the sound at all, and they should not induce any additional hiss to what the microphone and the wireless unit produce. So as I said, this is the wireless version, this one. This is the wired version. I'm going to switch back and forth between those two, but first we're going to start with a silence test, knowing that there's an AC unit running in the background, but I'm just looking for hiss. But noticeable hiss, not something very, very low. I don't really care. You're not going to use this for recording normally anyway. So here we go. So you heard that for yourself. I hope you're listening on something decent, something like headphones, good headphones, or studio monitors, and turn those up to get the detailed information. I'm going to do an unboxing, what's the point, right? But in the box you get the WSB charging cable, so you can charge both off one charger, both units, wireless units. You have a manual button for channel select. You have a battery level indicator, and the bottom of the wireless kit will go red when it's not connected, or when it's charging, to blue when it's connected. So you have a nice light show on stage. It does make a long cigar, with the SM57, it is quite long. As far as audio quality goes, I haven't tested it yet, so I'm gonna stop this recording and get back to you after I come back from rehearsal, because I'm taking these today to rehearsal to try out for my singer. So see you later. So I'm back from rehearsal, and what happened? Well, the Joyo MW-1 performed flawlessly. It's very easy to use. You turn it on, the units pair automatically. Obviously they were paired initially, but it pairs automatically. You plug it in, it works, period. Sound quality wise, I have no complaints. We used a Sennheiser E845 dynamic mic for the singer. That went into a Midas 32R mixer, and finally into a QSC PA system, and there was no noticeable hiss, there was no digital artifacting, there were no wireless dropouts. The system performed flawlessly. You might have heard in the side-by-side with these microphones that there's a drop-off around 100 hertz, the rumble area of the frequency range, but you really don't notice that live. If you need those frequencies, they're still there, they're just a little bit lower, so you could correct that with EQ. Only two caveats for me for the system. The first one is that there's no carrying case, so you have to find your proper solution, your own solution. The second caveat is that the receiver end is a bit thick, so if you want to use two simultaneously on the same mixer, You couldn't do that side by side unless you get an extender cable. However, one receiver fits nicely between two XLR cables. So if you had XLR on one, the Joyo receiver on two, and another XLR input on three, that's absolutely no problem. For $60 to $80, this is a great buy. It's a cheap way to get into wireless. You can reuse your existing microphones. The system performed really well. I mean, there's really no complaints on my side. Joyo is a big brand in China. Maybe it's not so well known in the rest of the world yet, but in China they're quite big. And they're also known for a certain quality or robustness, which is not the case of all music brands that are in China, but this one is. So I wouldn't worry too much about the durability of it. Obviously, integrated batteries will fade after a while. So if you use this professionally and you're doing 10 gigs a week, maybe after a year, you might have problems. I don't know. So I told you in the beginning that I had a side test result, and that's basically the fact that the MW-1 by Joyo has a similar sound signature as the mic preamp on the Sony A7 IV camera. That's quite interesting. And you can tell from those recordings probably that the preamp on an audio interface is much preferable, much better, much cleaner than what the A7 IV can produce, and obviously still a little bit cleaner than what the Joyo produces. So I think the A7 IV also adds some hiss. So as a side test result, for me at least, I will be using my audio interface more frequently now, where I was sort of inclined to plug straight into the camera, but the sound quality difference is actually quite enormous. So I will use my audio interface going forward whenever I can, and prefer it over the camera input. So that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.